Share. See the screen, my slideshow. Are you seeing my screen?
We can see your screen.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so the Vintage Computer Festival was beginning of August on the 8th, and I was there, and Kevin was there, and Kevin, if you can help me remember some of these photos, I took over 100 photos, and I'm not sure I remember everything, the details of everything I took, so maybe just observe the equipment here. We have
I will provide heckling.
okay, they have an Altair front panel. This is not an original Altair, but a remake, and a PDP 11 front panel. We have some kind of daisy wheel printer on the right, and
that is actually the console for the IBM 1410 Junior. The next picture you see is the Junior, which is an actual real heritage legitimate panel with a bunch of modern computers stuffed inside to make it be the computer it once was. They have emulated light bulb with LEDs, and you can see the console printer on the right that they have had to develop to be the console for it. And on the left is the card reader, which is an emulation of the card reader that reads in USB flash drives.
Right, thank you. Have a demo of the Chaos nonlinear analog computer. Let's see, I forgot what this stuff is. Now, some more
analog computing.
Yeah, analog computing. There's a
not as good as Dwight's.
Well, we'll get to Dwight.
Consider the same.
And on the lower right, it looks like an Apple Lisa almost, but maybe a clone of that. Okay.
The computers were the first picture. Earlier picture was a ComDyna 6, and these are the EC1 heat kits.
Oh, right.
Panels
Yeah,
you see here.
Yeah, these are our heat kit ones, which you actually buy and put together during the day.
Yep.
Here's some other Apple laptop computers and clones, maybe.
This guy took Macs, early Macs, and put them into luggable cases.
Okay. This was a guy selling all sorts of books up front.
Friends of the Palo Alto Library.
Right, yeah, some old computer magazines on the bottom there, and a very well-worn introduction to programming for the PDP-8, which I actually used in college. And here's some more pictures of the IBM 1620 Junior that Kevin was talking about. And on the lower left, the card reader that they've reimagined. On the lower right is David Henderson, who drove from Tampa, Florida, to show a bunch of stuff there. There's looks like a Commodore and some games, and a Rockwell AIM computer, and Kevin dropped off some Forth stuff for him to pass out. So that's what's going on there. He was talking about Chuck Moore and Forth as well. And there's a Jupiter Aces on the lower right, and original IBM PC there. Some other stuff. It's a Model 100. This is a Max 4th board with a 4th in ROM and a cassette recorder. This looks like, I'm not sure what this is now. But here we have Dwight masked up, but we can still recognize him. And here's his booth. This was his 4004 setup, his maneuver board setup. On the lower pictures are some electronic scales that were programmed in with a 4004 or 8008, an early Intel product. And the interesting thing here, it was that you can put a number of pieces in here and it would weigh it, and then you can tell it how many pieces were in there. So in subsequent weighings, it could tell you how many pieces were set up there. In this case, it was there was a couple scales that sort of did the same thing. So that was sort of interesting. Not sure what this stuff is on the bottom, but I thought it was interesting having this vertically oriented old hard drive mounted in that. That was sort of neat to see.
That was an old, a collection of a couple of old IBM computers from a particular computer history museum other than the one in Mountain View that you can see in the meeting notes from the Vintage Computer Festival.
Right. Now I'm not sure what the bottom photos are of. I don't recall. Sorry about that. Upper left is original Apple I computer, and this woman here is Lisa Loop, who did a lot of work early on getting Apple computers into classrooms. That was her thing. Here's another Apple I on the lower right, and Apple II over here that she used. Lisa, was very instrumental in getting Apple computers used in classrooms. Yeah. This looks like this is Commodore stuff up here, and this is obviously an old original IBM computer with 2 floppy disks, celebrating its 40th anniversary of its introduction just recently.
Oh, just as a note, I came across, I was looking up some games for the Commodore, and there's a guy who developed a program in 4th called Worms. I don't know if anybody remembers that from way back when. They have released the source code for the Commodore in 4th, which you can get off of archive.org if anybody's interested in gaming from back then.
Right. Interesting Macintosh case. This was an interesting exhibit. This guy was replacing capacitors on motherboards and stuff like that. So he has a service that will do that. So if you have an old motherboard or a computer that's older and the capacitors have failed, you can get somebody to repair those. Seem to be doing a good job.
Yeah, the capacitors in the earlier Macs were particularly bad.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's what he was working on. I guess these are Atari computers here. Yeah, just move ahead. An Apple Newton and Apple laptop. This guy was showing a VT100. I used those when I was at the VA. This looks like a Apple IBM computer. Yeah, so
Yeah, the V100 guy had a industrial floor version that was in a box sealed, so
Okay.
that you could use your VT100 on your factory floor.
Okay. 8080 Z80 assembly language book. That's it was good to see those things still around. Here's a VT100 and a couple of floppy drives and a terminal.
Yeah, that was a VT100 with a computer in it, so you could use it as a word processor and
Right.
stuff.
Okay.
And the floppy went along with it.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure about this middle one here. Sorry. More miscellaneous computers. Not sure about the provenance of any of these. Yeah. Another Apple II computer. Some other Macintosh computers here. Zip drive, remember those? Yeah.
Zip drive's great for backup. Write only.
Yeah. This is digital equipment floppy disk drives. This is S100 bus box.
I think this is the consignment area.
Right, yeah, consignment area. Kremenko box. These are PerSci floppy disk drives, and these were really neat because it automatically sucked in the disk. You didn't have to throw a lever or anything. I think there was just a button that engaged the floppy disk and ejected them as well. So in a nice wooden box, and this was pretty pricey, but it worked pretty well. Apple II, Commodore floppy disk drives. This is actually a very interesting computer. This is an IBM 5100, and this there's a number of different types of them. There were some that had a tape drive going here, and this was a full CRT. It actually had quite a bit of memory in it, and other models have a switch here. One side was to program in BASIC, and the other side was to program in APL. And I remember a talk by a guy who had one of these, and he used it at home and carried it on his back on a bike to work. So it was his portable computer, but it was obviously a plug-in model. IBM Pc, another PC, modified with 2 half-height floppies, and looks like a couple hard disks here. A working PC, S100 box, Apple IIs. This looks like, not sure the make of this portable computer, but fairly old. I think this is an old IBM a laptop, because I recall this external floppy drive. I had one of these floppy drives. Yeah, bunch of hard disks, a bunch of Apple computers in a case, and a bunch of t-shirts. So that's all I have. It was a pretty interesting day. It was good to see them back at the Computer History Museum, which is going to be open now starting September 1st. So, expect to have some, speakers going on there like they had in the past. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Missed a couple of my favorites, the Cosmac Elf and the Sim Pet, which is like a Kim.
Yes, Kim and Sim were competing single board computers that had a had a keypad and a little bit of display in front. Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, I built both those kits and I was totally hardware and I go, shit, I need to learn programming.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, great. I'd like to get a little bit meta here. Here is my Vintage Computer Festival Vintage T-shirt. So if you can see that, great. If you can't, what are you gonna do? All right. It was a wonderful meeting, aside from that doofus continually interrupting to move things along. Gonna have to do something about that going forward. Please think about what you're gonna present on fourth day. Think about people that you would like to contact to get to present, or would like me to contact to get to present. If anybody is conversant with the Near spacecraft and the fourth thereon, we'd be pleased to hear about you on fourth day. Thank you so much, all of you, for attending. We're going to flip the switch on the recorder, Brad,